Hey, what is up guys? It's your boy Speed here, and today we're going to be watching Shiro's Templar Assassin that against LGD, arguably one of the best teams in the world, went 15-0 with 7 assists. Really crazy score. He also went a pretty cool skill build here, but he bought a very early Ags. You can see he went Dragonlance, Blink, Deso into Ags. A very, very early timing on an item that definitely was nerfed and isn't nearly as popular. So nonetheless, if you're interested in safe lane or TA or farming or whatever in the mid game to late game, this is a video for you, and let's get into it. By the way guys, if you want to become absolutely broken, well, what you need to do is sign up to the GameLeap website down below right now. The reason why you should do that is because every single day we post a new video there. Content that you simply just will never get on YouTube, we post every single day to the website. It's really top tier stuff. I'm very proud of what I make over there. We also have other creators, many of my great friends who are top tier Dota players, creating guides about different heroes, different roles, different items, skill builds, talent builds, everything you need to know to get to the next rank. So if you feel a little bit lost, you're a little bit stuck, click the link down below. I'll see you guys there. And now let's get into the video. All right, so the main thing I want to focus on within this game, at least the early game, is when he heads into the jungle. So at minute 7:45 here, he heads into the jungle, cleans up this large camp, and has to make the difficult decision on whether or not he stays in the lane or just completely leaves. So in this case, in this game in particular, I wouldn't say they really have a good answer for TA. Most of their heroes do single tick damage. The only hero that doesn't do, single tick damage is Wyvern, which is like, okay, Arctic Burn is decent against Refraction. It's nothing crazy though. And so it's definitely one of those games just based on his matchups that he should stay in the lane. And you should be taking from what I'm saying right now, basically like, you should be thinking to yourself, oh, okay, I need to think more about my matchups. I need to know what counters me, what kills me, and pay attention to it. Because let's say there was a Batrider in this game. Even if there, let's say Batrider can easily kill TA, he still could stay in his lane if Bat was showing constantly mid or bottom or whatever. He would still have to be careful of a TP in, but hopefully that makes sense. Just like try to be really aware of these things, because in general, the main farm, right, the most optimal farm is lane plus jungle creeps. It's not that much better than just jungling as TA, funny enough, because TA jungles quickly. But the thing is, you can also protect your tier 1 tower for longer, which just maintains map control and saves your, saves your team from giving up so much gold to the enemy. So if you can defend your tower in your safe lane and farm it without AFKing, like you want to basically just shove in the lane and go back to the jungle. If you get stuck in your safe lane, that's just bad. But yeah, now he stacks up this camp. And at this point, what? See, this was weird to me why he went mid here. I guess the Pango had rotated out. So the Pango rotated to top and died. And so he heads over and away from his jungle. I think the main reason for that is his team has basically given up the top side of the map. They have no supports to protect him there, so it's very likely he'll get invaded and jumped. And honestly, the main gist of his gameplay is, it's kind of simple, it's kind of basic. It's just pushing in the mid lane or bot lane, depending on what's free, and then heading back into the tri camp. But like the big thing I want you guys to understand about Dota as a game is not every game should be complex, right? A lot of the time when you're playing safe lane, the more complex your game is, like the less pattern it is, often the worse it is. Now, for instance, if you're playing something like, let's say Juggernaut, right? And you have Omni Slash and you're having a very good game and you bought Phase Boots, by all means, you could show up to a mid fight. Even here, I can guarantee you that if he's farming this ancient stack, which is like the main gist of his gameplay, just make and farm ancient stacks, obviously his teammates are going to help him in that. But if the enemy team was to dive mid, I think he would absolutely show up because he has his D-Lance timing. And that's like a big advantage of going D-Lance on TA. It lets you take these early game fights. For going Deso, it takes so long to get it, right? You're going to get it in most games around minute 15-ish, right? 14, 15. To the point where if the enemy team was to invade your triangle, right, if they were to invade you or gank you, or they were to try to take your mid tower, you wouldn't be able to fight them. So with this D-Lance, you absolutely would want to look for fights. You should often play around your items and think about like, hey, what do my items do? For instance, right here, TP's mid. He's 400 gold away from Deso. Like by all means, he could have just farmed it and been like, yeah, I should wait for my timings. But no, right? He's interested in fighting. It's a generally good fight location, right? It's around mid. His team is all here. Right, it's just this is a good fight for a hero like TA. TA doesn't want to get focused, right? She doesn't want to get chain stunned or initiated on. She just wants to be able to do the damage from the back, right, and clean up the fight. And that's exactly what happens here, Really nice double kill for Shiro. Another thing that I've noticed that a lot of pro players do is they specifically look to take these early game mid fights, only because like what's really beneficial about mid fights and showing up to mid fights as well, and this is something that I'm even trying to incorporate into my own gameplay now that I've learned being like that's just wildly beneficial. And you know, it's not even something that I noticed, but essentially if we look back at this clip, guys, right, the main benefit of him fighting mid here is like, yes, the support kills are something, right? He gets both of them, which is great, but like, honestly, there's a decent chance he doesn't get either of the kills, but he still should make this play. And the reason why is when you're playing a hero like TA, you do significant tower damage, right? And as a result, if you win a fight mid, you're basically always going to be able to transition into a tower. If you win a fight top, let's say it's at this tower or this tower, there's a decent chance, right? Assuming you defended a tower, you're not going to be able to get to this tower in time. It's just going to take too much time. Maybe the creep wave got cleared out, and the creep waves take significantly longer to get to the tower. Right? And so you're not going to have a wave to tank for you. That's obviously not the case here. Mid pushes in fast, and as a result, they instantly transition into a tower. And not only is it a tower, it's the most useful tower in the game because of the map control it gives, which I explain in other videos, and I'll probably make videos on for the website. Next up, this is what I like to call baiting the Roshan. This is extremely useful. Basically, the main thing I noticed with your average pub player, things that you guys, like something you guys can improve, is overcommitting to Rosh. So I think a big reason why people don't like Roshing is they feel like they die in the Rosh pit. Like when players Rosh, there's a couple things they don't do to enable the Rosh. And the main one is vision. So right here, his team is on the high ground. So right then and there, he has vision to Rosh. He melds, right? Because he wants to do the double meld to basically maximize the refraction damage and the minus armor he gets on Rosh. And so he's setting that up, but he sees that a fight breaks out. And so instead of committing to Roshan like a lot of players would, because they're playing TA with Deso, like a wildly early Deso timing, he just chills, right? And he's gonna bait the enemy team into Rosh. They even scan the Roshan pit, so they think he's Roshing. There's a decent chance that they're gonna try to check. And so what does that do? Well, it baits the enemy team to run into you, and what's so nice is that now this trap on the high ground that somehow didn't get deorted just sets up for a nice slow onto the Wyvern, which allows them to, yeah, set up on the Wyvern. They caught Tinker as well, and the enemy ran into their vision. Where is their ward? Have a ward here. Do they have another ward? Seems like they have another ward. Is it just traps? Oh no, it's spiders. Wow, spiders give so much vision. Oh my god. Jeez. These brood spiders are like just lighting up the night. I'm like, they got a ward, right? Nope. It's brood spiders. Okay. I guess that's pretty cool as well, but the trap plus the brood spiders allows them to jump the Wyvern, jump the Tinker, which I would easily argue is the most valuable targets for this early game. And yeah, they win the fight. They win the fight and they take Roshan. So super nice play. Good job baiting the Rosh. And that's the key of hitting early timings and then playing around your vision. All right, so next let's talk about why Ags is good this game and why I think it makes sense that he bought it. The main reason why I think it's good this game is actually how the enemy heroes play the map. So if you look at his team has no problem clearing waves. They have a Pango mid and they have a Brood. It's not like his team needs extra wave clear, which Ags does provide you the capability of doing, right? Really the main thing that I think it lets him do this game is deal with the enemy split push. So if you look at their heroes, they have a Spirit Breaker, a Wyvern, a Tinker, a Morph, and a Night Stalker. Tinker split pushes waves with keen convoyance, right? Spirit Breaker charges waves. Wyvern flies over the trees and cuts waves. Morphling, it's a hero that naturally just splits the map when he's behind. And even Night Stalker to some extent, especially in the daytime, does not want to fight. And so I think it's very, very likely, especially considering LGD was behind at this point of the game, not by a ton, but they were behind. The TA was wildly ahead, was kind of the main thing here. Right, TA is way ahead, and Wyvern has quite a bit of net worth, which, you know, is somewhat useful. He has an Aether and a Blink, but either way, I like it against the enemy heroes in particular. And yeah, this game ends up playing like really slow, so I don't want to bore you guys to death, so I'm not going to show you most of the gameplay, but you can see he's just like really, really shoving in waves and keeping the map in. And this allows him to hit later timings as well. The only thing you might be thinking is like, oh, but Ags is really bad for going high ground, and he has to be the high ground siege, right? Brood isn't going to do it, and Pango's not going to do it. The thing is, he's playing against Tinker. Like, the reality of Tinker Wyvern, you know? Even Spirit Breaker with his ulti can bump you back into the base. It's just too hard to go high ground. They don't have any save hero, right? It's like if Tia gets gone on, like, what's saving her? nothing. I mean, like, hopefully Ravage, kind of, you know, kind of, right? It's probably not going to catch the Tinker. But yeah, basically, it's very hard for them to actually go high ground and siege buildings. They're against Tinker. When you're against heroes like Tinker and Zeus and Sniper, you don't just want to walk up to buildings. Basically, the way you have to approach the game is sort of what he's doing with the Ags, which is like essentially splitting up the map, right? You're basically playing in a way that enables you to avoid towers, which is kind of like that's like a really advanced thing in my opinion. That's like one of those concepts that basically no one gets, no one plays around, but is super true. It's like, okay, if they have Tinker, they have Zeus, they have Sniper, we don't need to like run around and siege the towers. If we just control them and keep them in like a limited portion of the base, and this Tinker hero, this Zeus hero, and Sniper hero aren't scaling, they aren't farming as much, then that's a win, right? That's a win. On top of that, we don't want to throw our game by sieging too early with not enough net worth, right? Which is very common against Sniper, Zeus, and Tinker, which is a big reason why these heroes have really high pub win rates, even when they're not that strong, right? I think Zeus's win rate right now is still around 50%, even though he's untouched by pros. Sniper, same thing. So I think Tinker's win rate is pretty high as well. And that's a hard hero. So yeah, it just goes to show that people don't really get this. And so instead of like playing around the fact that the enemy team has these heroes, they kind of just run into towers, they feed, and then they yell at their supports for being trash when their supports couldn't do anything about it. So the main difference you're going to see now, he gets Aegis, and instead of playing side lanes in his jungle, for the first time in the game, he's actually going to look to hit the mid tower. Wow. He actually waited for Aegis and isn't gonna dive. Can you believe it? Can you believe it, guy? I swear, dude, most people would have thrown this game already. 100%, man. 100% this game would have been thrown. Especially in pubs. Even in higher MMR pubs, people would have thrown this game. Absolutely. He even bought Lincolns, which is crazy to me. I mean, he's good against Tinker, really good against Spirit Breaker, really good against Wyvern. So I get it, but wow, it's just such a defensive build. It's insane. I will say that there's some logic to him buying defensive items this game. I mean, outside of the fact that the enemy team is like very burst reliant, they have a lot of single target spells, so the Lincolns just make sense in that regard. But also, the enemy heroes don't have high armor outside of Tinker, and as a result, even without Daedalus, he still can kill them, or MKB, right? He can actually still kill them because of the fact that they're low armor heroes. This is a Night Stalker support, a Wyvern, and a Spirit Breaker who's pretty low armor. Depending on the items that he buys. Okay, he actually has decent armor right now, but he's in base, right? All right, and next thing that's like kind of what I was speculating on earlier, I think I mentioned it in the video, but basically he goes and farms like a madman until he has level 25, which is TA's best talent by far. He might be like, speed is for level 25 talent, of course it is. It's like, no, that's not the point. It's like relative to the level. Okay, maybe the level 15 talent comes. Honestly, TA has really good talents, to be perfectly honest. Like, this hero's talents are nutty. He has really, really good talents. But this level 25 talent in a game like this, insane. Because they're, as I talked about, they're all single target damage. I mean, there's a Wyvern. Like, okay, you know what I mean? Like, sure. I mean, it's not going to be very easy for a Wyvern to auto-attack a TA in these team fights. That's going to be pretty difficult. So the refraction talent, pretty insane for defensive purposes. And also, it's an 800 extra damage on your autos, considering you get 8 extra charges. And now you can see he's going to absolutely chunk getting into these fights, just pumping out damage. And he's extremely survivable, right? Gets cursed here. Refraction basically tanks the entire thing. And he can just continue to pop it over and over again. Tinker blinks in. I think they kill off Tinker. Man, that hero's a bunch of BS. My God. If you play Tinker, you are the scum of the earth. I just want to let you know that, all right? It's completely outside of this video. I'm not talking about Tinker, but it doesn't matter. I just want you to know that, okay? If you're watching this, you play the hero, stop. All right, let's see this. Funny enough, right after I do the Tinker Flame, he solo kills Tinker. How did this happen? Oh my God, he just had a trap there. Woo! Oh my God, 1,000 gold. Jesus. That is a lot of gold. What is he gonna buy, a Hurricane Pike? I feel like you buy Pike, right? Yeah. My God, dude, TA at this timing when she has Swift Blink Pike is so mobile and actually hits so hard, even with no DPS item. I mean, Swift Blink is sort of a DPS item, but look at this. It's just like the bonus attack speed and a little bit of bonus damage from the Swift Blink, plus the Refractions talent. It's nasty, pretty nasty, pretty nasty. All right, and that's gonna be the end of today's video. Eventually, they managed to take another Roshan, which basically enables them to end the game. And hopefully you guys learned quite a bit. I felt like this was a kind of a fun educational video. Definitely a bit on the longer side, but at the end of the day, I feel like there's a lot of points that were covered. I really love the playstyle of Shiro this game. I felt like it was very controlled, very relaxed, very calculated. I don't feel like he just kind of made YOLO plays that your average player would make, and it's kind of something I also particularly like about Chinese Dota. I feel like it's very controlled, it's very farm-oriented, timing-oriented, and it's also very thoughtful. Not, you know, they don't always farm, they obviously put a lot of pressure in certain games, but often they do it in a very methodical way, like calm, cool, and collected, just like our favorite North American Rank 1 pro. Nonetheless, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace!
And that's all, but remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the GameLeap website where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace.